to the Fitch Files. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fitch Files. On today's episode, which is episode 4, I have a special co-host, Allison Bird, who was our last guest, and a special guest, Christie Barker. She grew up in Marion, Virginia, and has a ton of crazy experiences and stories to tell us, ranging from gnomes and shadow figures to creepy, hairy creatures running alongside cars and creatures with wings. It gets weird, and we love it. So I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fitch Files. This is episode 4, and today is a very special episode because not only do we have a special co-host, who is Allison, aka the last guest, we also have a very special guest on here who's going to be talking about the Appalachian Mountains and all the crazy things that she's seen and heard there. Her name is Christie Barker. She's from Evergreen, Alabama. She's a graphics designer and dabbles in teaching yoga, doing artwork, and practicing Reiki on the side. She's originally from Marion, Virginia. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but I'm going to try. Is that right, Marion?
Marion.
Marion, Virginia. I tried. I pretty much have no knowledge of anything related to the East Coast and the east side of the U.S. I'm a West Coaster myself. So this has been kind of a crazy thing for me to research, looking these things up, because I pretty much have no idea about anything about it. I've never been through it before. Unlike the past guests on here, I kind of had things I could relate to. This has been all new. So thank you for coming on the show. Thank you, Allison, for being my co-host today.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
So you were born in Virginia, or did you just go there later on?
Yep. So I was born and raised in Marion, Virginia. My parents are from there. My grandparents and their great-great-grandparents are from the Appalachian Mountains. And I lived there until I was 24. So I've spent most of my life there. I'm 33 now, if that helps give it some perspective.
Oh, you're our age. Nice.
Oh, wow.
33 power. I'll be 33 in August 22nd. And my fiance here, she just turned 33 as well.
Oh, that's cool. 333s.
Yes.
That's a power number.
So you spent a lot of your life there then. So you probably got to see a lot of different things there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen a variety of weird things from the time I was pretty young. I took some notes to try to figure out what I should focus on, and I realized I've seen a lot of weird stuff there. So I'm excited to be able to talk about some of it.
That's good. We like weird. We love
Yeah,
it.
definitely. How early can you remember having experiences?
So the first thing I remember, I was around 4 years old. And we had moved to a new house in Marion. And I remember I was going to bed in my new bedroom, and things felt a little weird. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a man standing beside my bed. And I was really confused. And I sat up in my bed, and I was like, "Dad, is that you?" Because I couldn't figure out who it would be. And I reached out because he didn't respond to me. And I realized my hand went through it, and he was like kind of whitish bluish. And I sat back up, and I just rolled over and was scared and put the covers over my head and laid there till I could go back to sleep. And I never saw him again, but that was the first thing that happened to me.
Wow.
I can't imagine.
Hear about the bluish whitish apparitions like that very often.
It's cool though.
Yeah, it was really weird. He was standing by my bed but not looking at me, like standing like he'd be facing the direction of the headboard. So I don't know if it was like a time freeze, or if he was like consciously there to see me. I'm not really sure. It was a really strange experience.
Were you like kind of like half awake at that point, or were you just fully awake?
At that point, I think it was the middle of the night, and I just woke up for some reason and saw him there.
Your body kind of sensed something that was there. And that woke you up.
Something weird's happening. You need to get up.
Wow.
Do you know anything about like the history of that house, maybe? That could have brought that on?
Well, the house was built, I think in the very early 90s, and this would have been around 1993. So there was one family that lived there before us, but they were just there a couple years, and I think they had the house built. So I don't know much about the house. I was told years later, and this sounds like such a cliche, but I was told years later that the woods right behind the house or something in the area was built on a Native American burial site. I was told that. I can't remember if my dad or grandfather told me. My grandparents lived across the street, or if I just heard that, but someone told me that, and it always stuck with me.
Oh, wow. And that's always one of those things that you hear in scary movies where, you know, bad things happen at Native American burial grounds. So
It's always some guy in overalls who like warns you too. Who's like sitting on the couch, you know, eating some hay or something. He's like, don't go back there.
Yeah.
Like, why? So that was your first.
Exactly.
That was like your first like major kind of experience of like, hey, things are getting kind of weird at a young age.
It was like I woke up, I like opened my eyes, and all of a sudden, like a full body apparition. It was a rude awakening into this paranormal realm.
Did you hear any noises when that happened?
No, I didn't hear anything that I can remember.
Yeah, usually with those kind of experiences, I hear people, they usually wake up and they hear something in the dream, and then as they wake up, they're still hearing the thing, and then they see something creepy, like it happened to Allison as well, and the previous guest.
Yeah, that would be really creepy.
Yeah, but I've never seen an apparition like that before. That's one I'm gonna have to add to my list of future things to experience.
It's a really weird experience.
So, what was the next thing that you can think of, like in that whole experience timeline? What happened?
Yeah, so sometime later, I'm not sure how long later, maybe a year or two, I walked into my bedroom, and there was one window, and it had like almost floor to ceiling curtains. And as I walked in, my curtains opened a little bit, and two orbs flew out, like kind of in unison, and they went kind of like towards the door of my bedroom. So I don't know if they went out of my bedroom or if they just dissipated, but I remember thinking that was weird.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Did they have any like mass to it at all? Sorry.
No, it's okay.
They were maybe, I don't know, 3 inches total, all the way around. Just like two whitish, maybe kind of goldish, like maybe a goldish tint to them.
Oh my gosh. That's really cool. And what's cooler too is you saw it with your naked eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually they catch orbs on like recordings, like video recordings and stuff like that, but they're harder to catch just, you know, with your eyes, just looking at them. So that's really neat.
Yeah, it was weird, and I had never heard of orbs or anything like that at the time, so I had no idea what I had just seen.
You know, what's interesting about the orbs is I was when I was doing my little research earlier, I read something called the Brown Mountain Lights. I don't know if you heard of those before.
Yeah.
Apparently located in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. Apparently locals and tourists alike have reported seeing glowing orb-like lights that are blue, white, orange, and red, and they're hovering approximately 15 feet off the ground in the Brown Mountain area. And apparently it was a brutal battle between Cherokee and I don't know how to pronounce it, Catawba warriors?
Oh, Catawba.
Catawba warriors. Brown Mountain, which left many dead on the battlefield. So people believe that the lights there are a result of that, apparently, the battle that happened there.
Oh.
Could it be coincidence that you have possibly a Native American burial ground behind your old house?
Yeah, possibly. So Marion would be in the same area of mountains as where the Brown Mountain Lights are, just farther north. Marion is about 45 minutes each way from Tennessee and North Carolina. So it's still in the same portion of that area near the Brown Mountain. I don't know, maybe an hour and a half north, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
That's not very far at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you saw the orbs, did you have any intuition or anything that you might have thought about what they were?
I remember thinking that it didn't scare me and that it was weird because normally something unexplainable should be scary, but this didn't. This felt almost playful, the way that they came out and the way they were moving. And it wasn't anything I was afraid of or saw in that house again. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you had like a lot of like one-time encounters, but they're all like very different and crazy. It sounds like.
Well, I had a few one-time encounters. The next thing that I would see a lot, and this happened from a young age until I was probably 14 or 15, but I would see a lot of shadow people in that house.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
we have those experiences.
yeah. We get those, or used to quite a bit. Usually in
They're
apartment
so creepy.
complexes,
Yep, they're so creepy.
and no one
So
knows what they are, or who they are, or why they are. That's the weird part about them.
yeah, these were really weird. I would see them out of the corner of my eye, and I'd turn and nothing would be there. But there were some other weird experiences with them. So in this house, there was this long hallway, and on one end was a den, and one end was the kitchen, and in the middle was a bathroom. So it's this weird liminal space. And
Hmm.
I would see these around this hallway a lot. And one day I came out of the bathroom, and to my left, I saw a shadow person in the kitchen on all fours. And
Oh
this
no.
time I actually turned and saw it with my eyes. And it didn't disappear when I looked at it, but I looked away and looked again. And then maybe I ran. I don't remember. Then I didn't see it again after that. But
That's
That's a
crazy
little
because
terrifying.
usually they leave when you see them. Like they
mhm,
quickly scatter away out of your vision, like, out of your peripheral vision a lot. So the
mhm.
fact that it didn't do that and just kind of just chilled there, that's a little
It's almost
concerning.
like it wanted you to see it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really creepy, and it was on all fours, which just intensifies the creepiness by like 100.
Yeah, that
Huh.
really makes it more unsettling when creatures do that,
hmm
and
hmm
they move in unnatural ways.
At the other end of the hallway from the kitchen is the den, and the way that the TV was in the corner of the room, you could see down the hallway in the reflection of the TV. So I would sit there at the computer, and in the reflection, I could see things moving down the hallway towards the den, but I could look and I wouldn't see anything just in the reflection. So that was, I don't know, that was a weird space.
Oh
That was,
wow, didn't show up in the mirror. That's creepy.
hmm
Makes sense though, I guess, for what it is, whatever it is.
It's interesting that you mentioned the hallway sort of thing because here at my place, we have a hallway that's a lot like that. That's where we see all of our shadow people as well. And the bathroom is right in the middle of that hallway. So,
interesting.
yeah, what is it about hallways?
That's really interesting. My
Yeah.
boyfriend had been talking recently to me about a concept of liminal spaces. And I think some people believe that these spaces can serve as more of a portal than it's just like a space that serves no purpose. It's just you walk through it to get from one area to the other. And I don't know. I'm probably not
Right.
describing it perfectly, but
It's kind of like limbo. It's not quite a
mhm,
place. It's
yeah,
leading somewhere, but it's not a door. It's not a doorway per se.
So
exactly.
energetically, it has that same like space for the spirit world as well, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the concept behind it. And I think it's really interesting that we both have this weird stuff happening with shadow people in hallways.
Yeah. And
And
we've gotten to the point where we're used to it. So whenever we see one, I'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" You know.
yeah,
That's how
what are you
often
doing
it
over there?
happens for us. Yeah, can you do some chores or something?
Yeah,
Right. Please
that'd be
vacuum.
nice. Yeah, that'd be great. You can stick around if you'll help out.
Like pay some rent or something?
Yeah.
Space and right. Well, I know you have quite a bit of stories, but before I get into all those, I have to ask because we've been talking about me and Allison. We're talking about this earlier. Yeah, if you heard of the Yahoo, as they
The
call it,
Yahoo.
apparently, yes.
I'm not sure if I've heard of the Yahoo.
Apparently, it's like like your guys' version of the like a Yeti or a Bigfoot type of deal.
Oh, okay. I have not seen that. I have seen a couple other weird creatures though in the area.
I'd love to hear
Ooh.
about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've got some weird creature stories. So I've got everything kind of in chronological order, but I can skip to the creature stories now if you'd like. Which would you prefer?
I mean, whatever you can do it chronologically, if that makes it easier, or either way,
Okay.
I want to hear it all.
Okay, cool. Well, I will start to go back to the weird creatures I've seen because I got a couple of weird stories. All right. in that house, I would often hear people say my name, but nobody would be there.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I'd hear it like it was said right in my ear, and sometimes
Yes.
sometimes it'd be further away. So I'd think, oh, somebody must be home now, and I'd like walk around looking for somebody, and no one was there. I remember one day I got off the bus, and my friend Jessica also rode my bus, but she lived a street down. So um, I got off the bus and walked into my house, and I heard her talking out in the yard. So I thought like she just got off the bus with me for some reason and wanted to hang out. And I walked outside, and she was nowhere to be found. So it was her voice, but she was not there, and it was really creepy.
Oh God.
Oh my gosh. And I've heard so many stories of things like that where they hear voices and it sounds like somebody they know. It's mimicking.
Hmm.
See,
That's
see for
crazy.
see for me, I've heard my name been said while I was in bed like 3 times, I think, throughout my life, and it's always been like a woman's voice, either like you said, right in my ear or kind of far away. But it sounds like it was definitely not someone there. And it's always like right when I'm waking up or something like that. It's like Alex. I'm like, what? And I wake up and no one's there. It's like, what the hell? Why does my brain do this? Who's saying my name?
It's
Why?
really unsettling. Yeah.
Is it really unnerving? Yeah, that's weird.
The kind of the difference between us and probably your experience in the Appalachians is that I know in a lot of the stories that I hear from out there, they say that if they hear someone calling their name, especially like if they're out in the forest or something, or if they hear someone at all but they don't see anybody, they say if you hear something, no, you didn't. And if you see something, no, you didn't. And you're supposed to just keep walking, don't run, and make your way home because that's how terrified they are of things that do that out there. Is that about right to you? Is that what you've heard?
That sounds really scary. I actually didn't hear people talk about anything like that, which would have been nice, but it would have been nice to hear those warnings.
I guess. Sorry, I forgot
My
to tell you
bad.
about that. My bad.
Well, now we all know for when we're back in the Appalachians.
Yeah, I'll
Are,
keep
are we
filing them.
mispronouncing that, by the way? Because I noticed you pronounce it differently than we did.
So we pronounce it Appalachians, and what
Appalachia.
Oh,
the old saying is I'll throw in Appalachia. So
okay.
that's how
Okay.
I guess it's remembered Appalachians, but I know other parts of the world or of the United States pronounce it Appalachians, and just like Nevada, some people say Nevada and others say
Okay.
Nevada. So I think it's a
Oh,
similar thing.
yeah.
I just didn't want to say it the wrong throughout the whole podcast, and everyone's like, "You're saying it wrong, buddy." You know that mean shit.
Yeah, I have seen people complain about how Californians especially say it. It's something about us, I think. I say Nevada, but I think
Yeah.
that the people in Nevada say Nevada. So
Yeah.
it's a California thing we do.
We
Sorry.
just can't help it. We say everything wrong.
You're
I
fine.
know.
No, you're fine.
So, have you ever heard of the Virginia devil monkey before?
No, I've not heard of this one.
Yeah, I never
That
heard of
one's
it
from your
either.
area.
Yeah, it's from your area. It's apparently a part wolf, part monkey creature that terrorizes vehicles in the area.
Well, it sounds exactly like a story I was going to talk to you about.
Ooh,
Oh,
good
get into
segue.
it. Let's hear it.
Okay. Okay. So when I was 15 or 16, my boyfriend at the time and I were driving back from a town called Abingdon, which is further closer to the Tennessee line, probably like 20 minutes away. And we were driving back there from the movie theater, and it was late at night, so there weren't a lot of cars on the road. But I noticed driving down the interstate, there was what looked like a wolf running beside the car, keeping up with the car going 65 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
And it was really big.
What?
And
That's the stories that we hear. That's wild.
really?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
it was humongous, and I was afraid to look. Like, I remember seeing it and I just looked away, like I shouldn't be looking at this thing. And it was keeping up with the car, and then I just stopped looking, and I noticed it was gone. And then a few miles down the road, there it was again, keeping up with the car.
Oh
And then
hell
it
no.
crossed the road behind us and got to the other side of the car. And then we didn't see it again after that.
What? I was just reading that apparently in 1959 a couple was chased in their vehicle and then the creature left scratch marks in their car door apparently.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, as you're telling
Yeah,
me that, I
so
was reading that.
you're
It's
not
pretty
alone.
creepy.
Yeah, you're not alone.
What did you say it was called? The wolf monkey?
The
The
Virginia devil
Virginia.
monkey.
Devil monkey.
Uh,
Well, it sounds just like the thing I saw. And I hadn't heard of this before. I'd heard of some creatures in the area, but now I can't remember what I'd read about. But this sounds exactly like the thing that I saw.
no, it didn't happen to stand up on its hind legs, did it?
It did not.
Okay. I mean, you might have looked at it. It might have not been a Virginia devil monkey, but you never know. It could have been.
Okay, good.
It could have been the Dueyo. Have you heard of that one?
I think that's the one I've read about, but
Yeah, it's apparently more. It's like a
I've read
wolf-like.
about it.
That's like a wolf-like creature that stands 9 feet tall.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Lot of weird like hybrid wolf monkey creatures I seem to be finding when I did research on this.
That
Why that
sounds
is,
horrible.
not sure. Not sure why. I mean, I guess it makes sense because like we also read that the land is full of wildlife of all kinds. Not only that, but also it's full of new minerals too, and like pretty much every precious stone you could think of.
And caves. This place is full of caves.
Oh yeah, the
Ooh.
caves. Yeah, that's
Yes.
not good.
So, you know how I said I mentioned there were woods behind my house. So there was this little cave right behind the house. It was like a rock ledge on one side and it dropped down maybe like 4 feet. And then the other side, there was this little cave opening and my cat would go in there. It was big enough for her. So there was a teeny tiny little cave back there.
Ooh,
I
a
don't know
tiny
how
cave.
deep it went. Yeah, but the whole area has lots of caves. A lot of people go spelunking throughout there. Yeah.
Because there were like a lot of miners at one point, right? Or I think
Hmm.
that's
Yeah, I'm
crazy.
not sure about Marion if there are miners in that area, but in the
Mhm.
general region of that part of the U.S., there were a lot of mines.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And that I think Alex and I were talking about this earlier, like having caves and especially places with a lot of minerals. I think we've seen a lot of things where that will lend to the type of energy in the area and how well it soaks up energy and I guess conducts it. But a lot of spiritual or paranormal activity happens around places with those minerals. So it makes a lot of sense that the Appalachians, how do you say it again?
You got it.
Appalachians are full of that
Throw that
stuff.
at
So.
you.
I'd heard that a lot about caves too, and I guess the minerals go along with the caves. I guess it's a hand in hand kind of thing. I had heard about caves and minerals both attracting weird stuff. Is it quartz that's under Brown Mountain or in the area?
I heard that there were a lot of different types of quartz, like there's amethyst and stuff. But I'm not
I didn't
sure
know that.
about. Yeah, I'm not sure about that area. I just know about like the Appalachians as a whole has all different kinds, like everything you can think of, it's in there.
And not only that, it
And
has
then
apparently the three oldest rivers in the world. Three oldest rivers in the world are found in the Appalachian Mountains as well.
I used to live on one of them, the New River,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So they got
when
all
I
that,
was
got
in
all that
college.
water and all those crystals. There's a lot of energy building up right there.
That makes
yeah.
a lot of sense. Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump back into your stories. Sorry for that detour.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
For
I have
everyone who
one
didn't
more
know about the
creature.
area.
I have one more creature story that was similar
Okay.
too. So I was around the same age, probably like 15 or 16-ish, and I was driving with some friends down a back road, like out in the country of Marion, and it's just pastures mostly. And I saw along this fence line that there was what looked like a 6 or 7 foot tall thing standing there, and it had these humongous wings that I think they were partially open. It looked like a really tall gray or brown or black. It was dark, so it was like dark gray or dark brown or black thing with these wings. And it was terrifying, and I couldn't believe what I saw. So the next day I went back because I was like, there's an explanation. It was something leaning against the fence post, but there was nothing there. So I don't know what that was.
Oh my gosh. Were you able to see any sort of like shape or feature to it other than the wings?
It was just, it looked humanoid. I mean, it looked like a big humanish type of creature. Maybe, I think it was like hairy. Um, and it had the wings.
Oh,
Wow.
that's something else we heard about, I think, too, didn't we? There's a
The
winged creature,
snallygaster. Yeah, the
the
snallygaster.
snallygaster.
Hmm. Snally. I'm gonna
It's a
write that
fun
one
name.
down.
And also kind of sounds like Mothman a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Would you
I'm
like
gonna look up the snallygaster
Would you
though.
like to
I'm
hear
not
about the
familiar.
snallygaster?
Yes.
Well, allegedly, the snallygaster has the head of an alligator, the beak of a bird, and a 25-foot wingspan. That's the one that had wings that I was reading about. That's pretty creepy.
Wow, that's terrifying.
Apparently, it dates all the way back to the 1730s when German settlers would share stories about the beast attacking others.
Jeez.
That's
Wow.
so scary.
They named
I'm
the
not
creature
scared of a
something I
lot of
can't
things,
pronounce.
but yeah. I'd be scared if I saw that. I'd be running, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
And
The huge
then I don't,
wingspan.
yeah, 25 foot. Jeez.
Wow.
No, I didn't even
And
realize the Mothman had its roots in this area too. I was, for some reason, I just never knew that. I was totally into the Mothman when the movie came out, but I didn't realize it was actually located in that Appalachian Mountain area as well.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's not in the southern part though, is it?
I'm not sure where Point Pleasant is. I think Point Pleasant is on the border of a different state, and I can't remember which state that is, but it's not
I can't.
Virginia.
It was hold on, I have it right here somewhere. It was Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Oh,
It's not too far.
wow.
Yeah.
Maybe you saw Mothman.
He had he had a 10-foot wingspan, so it sounds a little bit more
Yeah,
a little more like it.
that's so scary to think about that.
Like you might have just saw Mothman, no big deal.
The only way I can describe it is as stoic,
Right.
Mhm.
like a stone statue, but with hair and wings. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, we don't get those over here.
Oh,
You don't want them.
We get all the boring cryptids. We just get Bigfoot and shit. We don't get the Mothman.
You don't want it. That's okay.
you're gonna hurt Bigfoot's feelings.
I'm sorry, Bigfoot. He's out there somewhere crying. Oh man.
So that was it for your creature sightings?
It was for mine, but I have stories of friends who have seen some.
Oh
Oh,
yes,
do
tell
tell.
us.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're familiar with Hellier.
Yes,
Yes.
we just binged it.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, you'll know what I'm talking about. So they talk about elves on Hellier, and I watched it and I was like, this is really weird. This sounds like some stuff I've heard people talk about in Marion. So I've watched Hellier. I've watched it a couple times now. It was really good, and I was like, this is
Mm-hmm.
insane. This is like things I've heard about. So the
Wow.
first thing, when I was young, I had this friend who had, when she was younger, lived at a different house in Marion, and she claimed, and her dad also claimed on a separate occasion, he confirmed it. They both had said that their house had elves in it, and that when she was really little, they would terrorize her at night and just kind of pester her and keep her awake, and it scared her. So they got a dog, they got a family dog, and they quit messing with her. They didn't come around anymore because of the dog. But so the interesting thing about this is, like, they moved and got a different house, and probably 15 years later, I knew someone else that lived in the house that didn't know this person who had lived in the house before, my other friend. And he said that they'd been seeing these weird little elves, like creatures in the house, and they couldn't explain it. It was the same house.
Same house?
Wow.
What? So multiple people saw the same thing in the same house.
And they didn't have a dog. They didn't know anything about dogs or like making them go away, so they were just dealing with it.
So, and on Hellier, I believe the house from at the very beginning where the people were experiencing those elves or goblins or whatever they were, they believed, or the town, I guess, believed that those things came from a cave. And you
Mhm.
Oh
guys
yeah.
said that you guys had the cave systems there.
Mhm.
So now I'm making these connections. Like, are these things coming from the caves, or do you think they just like live in the house?
There's a cave close to that house.
Oh
That far,
my God.
like within probably less than a quarter mile. I mean, closer than that.
Wow. It's time
Wow.
to go exploring. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Let's go.
I'm not going in that cave. I'll be outside the
I
cave waiting
wouldn't
for
go.
it to come out.
I'm too afraid to go into caves.
Yeah, too many horror
Unless
stories on
there's
that.
amethyst. I didn't know there was amethyst in the area. I might go looking for some amethyst sometime.
It's like I'm caving
Yeah,
now.
maybe. Yeah, look it up. See what minerals and stones are in that area because it could be really cool to go hunting for some.
That would be cool if I didn't have to go far or go into anything that was very small. Like the opening in
Mhm.
the cave was full of amethyst. That would be perfect.
Oh my gosh, I know.
There might be a wolf man guarding it though. You gotta
Oh
watch
no.
out. That's
You never
crazy.
know. So that's not my only story about weird elf gnome type of creatures there that I've heard. So I didn't see those, but I felt like hearing it from two different sources, 15 or three different sources, and some 15 years apart, where they didn't know each other, was pretty good confirmation that something weird was happening in that house.
Oh, absolutely. I'd like to get
Yeah.
another update on whoever lives there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Where are they
Write
now?
to them. Write them a letter and ask them.
Please email the fitchfilesofficial@gmail.com.
And I kind of want to know in what way were the little elves pestering the family or terrorizing them?
So
Good
I
question.
think they were just doing it to her, and she was like maybe 4 or 5 at the time, and I think they would like pull on her blankets and like just keep her awake, just like pestering her, not letting her sleep, and just like trying to pick on her.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
That
Well,
would be
kids are more in tune
terrifying
with
as a
that kind of
child.
stuff.
Yeah, they are, true. But what would be the point for them to only mess with her? That's the kind of thing I think about.
Yeah. It's really creepy, and it's like she's a little kid, so it's cruel, so it's really creepy.
That happened in Hellier too. They were the little dudes were pestering I
Oh
guess it
yeah,
was like a kid upstairs in their bedroom, like knocking on it on their window and stuff.
Oh, that
that
would
sounds
be
very
creepy.
mischievous,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That,
which makes
yeah.
sense if you're a fairy elf creature.
Yeah.
So then I have a question related then, because now I'm on the Hellier track here. I know that in that town they had a lot of sort of on the down low secret things that they believed in to protect the town, like the Green Man stuff. Do
Hmm.
you guys have anything in that town, like little symbols or stuff around that may be connected or like spiritual in a way?
Not that I'm aware of. It's a pretty religious area, so I
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen any like alternative things like that very much in the area that I can remember.
Mm, okay. Yeah, that was actually one of our questions that someone asked from Facebook, so I thought I'd
Yes,
throw
that
it
was
in.
Veronica's question, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, she also asked, are there old visible talismans on structures or anywhere that were meant for protection from folklore creatures or spirits?
I've never seen anything like that. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and if they're religious, it's probably like mostly crosses and things like that, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Well, that works
got a lot.
too.
Got a lot of churches in the area.
And what about like folk magic in the area? So do they is that typically not seen there as well?
So I haven't I haven't heard of any good magic from the area.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard of a couple. There's a weird story in town. I've heard from more than one source that lived in Marion at the time. At some point in the 70s, there were these three women that called themselves witches that somehow they got a hold of a high school girl. I think she was 17, and they took her back into the mountains. There's this park called Hungry Mother State Park that is out in Virginia or in Marion, and it is a little bit even further than that. It's way back in the mountains. They found that girl there, and I think I don't know if she was crucified or if she was strung up. I can't remember the story exactly, but they had done some sort of ritual sacrifice to this girl.
Oh man, that was
Yeah,
like a real thing that actually happened.
I've heard it from multiple people, and they don't really like to talk about it very much in Marion.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
can see why. That's scary.
Hmm.
That's not good magic. You're right.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
good magic. No, that's not naughty magic.
yeah. I haven't heard of much good magic happening in the area.
Wow.
Man, do you have any other creepy stories similar to that?
Other creepy stories about witches like that. I think that's the only one like that I've heard in the area about witches.
Well, Alex, we're gonna have to go visit and
Just bring you
explore.
there. Have you be the witch.
I'd be the good witch.
Now, have you ever happened to see anything in the sky?
I have.
Ooh.
I have. So I've seen something personally, and I've heard a few other people say they saw something on a different occasion. My experience, I was in the car with my parents and my brother, and we were driving from the next town over, Chilhowie, back to Marion. And driving along the highway, it's just, this area is just some pastures and some houses, and not really remote, but it's, farmland for the most part. And
Mhm.
at this area where there was a big pasture in the back, like I remember seeing a pasture, and behind it these big hills that came up right on the other side of the pasture. But I was probably about 5 or 6 at the time, and I remember I was in the car looking out the window, and I heard this really weird music playing, and it sounded, I don't know, the only thing I can describe it as, kind of like circus music.
Oh.
I don't know how to describe it. And I looked and I didn't see the radio on, and I asked my mom if the radio was on, and they said, no, it's turned off.
Uh-oh.
And so there was no music coming from the radio. And so I couldn't ask her to turn it off because it was already turned off. No one else in the car heard it, but I looked out over at the pasture and I saw this, what looked like a silver disc, take off from this pasture from by the hills and just go up into the sky, and then the music stopped.
Oh my
Oh
God. Did it have
my
any lights
God.
on it?
I don't remember seeing any lights, and this was like in broad daylight.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't hear
Hmm.
about a lot of daylight sightings.
But no one else in the car saw it. Nobody was looking that way. They didn't hear the music. They didn't see anything, but they also weren't paying attention to that side of the road. I think my brother was playing his Game Boy, and my parents were just looking in front of them.
You're just sitting there and it's like,
What the
guys.
hell? Did you just see that?
And
It's
you're
always
the only one
comforting.
that heard the music, right?
That's a new
Dang.
fear unlocked for me.
Yeah.
I know
Circus
circus
music
music.
before you see a UFO. That's comforting and terrifying.
It was not fun. It's pretty creepy.
Put that in the memory bank right there. That's a first.
It just makes me wonder, like, were they were like the UFO, was it projecting it to
Only to
you?
her.
Like,
Hmm.
yeah. Were they trying to send you like nice circus music? Maybe not knowing that that's a little
Oh,
creepy, or
were they
I
trying
don't
to
know.
attract me to the craft?
Oh, that's scary too. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Oh,
Got
wow.
free candy. Come on
Oh,
No.
in.
creepy. There's a circus in here.
Those
Yeah,
damn
probably
space
don't go
clowns.
towards the music.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like a B horror movie or something, like Clowns from Space. Like, oh shit.
that's the thing,
Yeah,
right?
it's a thing. It's a thing. Yeah, probably. It sounds like it. I mean, technically, it is an alien, right?
Oh, yeah, that's
Pennywise.
right.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
no.
Oh,
didn't even think about
oh no.
that.
Oh no.
It was
We're
Pennywise.
we're we're making this experience worse for you. Sorry.
Hey, no worries. This Pennywise, he was an alien. Just no deal. Hey, you don't live
That
there
does make
anymore though,
sense.
so you're kind of away. You're a little bit away from it.
I'm pretty safe now.
Now, my next question is: have you had any other experiences since you've moved to where you are now?
Yes, I've had a lot of other spirit experiences in between too.
Really?
Hmm.
So it sounds to
And
me like you might be sensitive to this, like you're, kind of receptive
Yeah,
to it.
Yeah,
She would be if she does Reiki. I mean,
True.
yeah, so when I was learning Reiki, I was starting to understand everything that had happened to me. I started studying a little bit about mediumship and empathic abilities, and it made a lot of sense to me because I never knew my whole life what was happening. And I went to see a shaman because I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina at this point in time. Every time I laid down to go to bed, it felt like there was a man standing beside the bed, hovering over me, like bent over with his face right above me, and I had trouble sleeping.
Oh.
So I went to see a shaman, and I talked to other people about it, and they all said that I'm very empathic and apparently attract things like that, like a moth to a flame. So she gave me some pointers, and she did some Reiki on me and some like energetic things as well. That now I don't experience that kind of stuff, and it's kind of like I have a protection now, and I can kind of not, I can kind of turn it off, or if it's there, I'm able to, not let it be so much. At that point in time, I was seeing a lot of orbs as well. I went to the eye doctor because I wanted to make sure everything was fine. And I went to my doctor and they checked everything out and everything was fine. But after I worked with that shaman, the orbs stopped as well.
Really?
wow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever get like glitches in your vision, like little light flashes too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still get those every now and then, but not nearly as much as I used to before we started to clear out our space and do more protection and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you kind of learn how to like stand your ground and keep your own energetic space and not share it as much, I guess, when you dive into the spiritual stuff. So
Yeah, it was really useful for me to not have to deal with that stuff all the time anymore and kind of just like turn it off. If I don't want to deal with it all, then I don't have to. So it's nice.
yeah.
Now, when you're getting these experiences, did you ever notice like number synchronicities and stuff like that at all?
Yes, I often this week I've seen a lot of 111s and 222s, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is one that both my boyfriend and I see all the time.
Yeah, right now it's 311 for us.
Oh.
Right when I look.
Yeah, this past week I've been seeing a lot of 555, and then I did see the 1, 2, 3, 4 today. Yeah, lots of fours the past few weeks before that. It's
There's
been
been lots
crazy.
of ones lately too. A lot of one, like 111. And I always just get lots of threes everywhere too, and just
Yeah.
in
Oh, and
general.
1010. That's been another one that's been
10,
popping
10,
up.
yeah.
Oh.
1010.
Huh.
But I'm always curious about if people are getting these synchronicities a lot during like their most, crazy moments like these, because I know that when I was going through my like peak period of spiritual awakenings and whatnot, I was having synchronicity numbers just constantly. I could just predict them pretty much. Like I could just be like, hey, go to the clock, and they're like, hey man, how'd you know? I'm like, I don't know, I just knew. that I'm just going through some weird shit right now, man. I don't know what to tell you. But I think it kind of coincides a lot with these experiences. It's kind of weird how they kind of like ramp up, quite a bit during these
To me,
sightings.
it's kind of like a sign that whatever you're going through at the moment is you're meant to for whatever reason. Like maybe if you're going through something kind of negative or something, maybe it's there to help you learn how to fight that and be stronger. Or if you're going through something really positive in your life, it's the numbers are like, hey, look, you're on the right path,
Or it can be like marking like something significant that you're doing, kind of just like make you take note of. You could be,
Yeah.
choosing a path right now, or altering your life and this decision you're about to make, kind of thing, and you see the numbers pop up right on time.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting that you said you've seen a lot of 1010 lately, because 10 is a good number in that it's like a number of completion, like of good things, and something's been completed. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means yet, but
Huh.
Yeah, we
like
can never
what's
quite figure out
completed
the
out of
meaning.
it. Yeah.
We just know it's
Well,
interesting. We must know more.
for sure.
Never-ending journey of questions and more
Yeah.
questions. The more you find out about yourself, and I also feel like the more that you get spiritual, the more not only do you become aware of all the weird things happening around you, but I think this things like your energy starts to get more amplified and things start to get a little bit crazier too, because you're putting stronger energy out there than you've ever, tapped into before. So it's kind of like a big old beacon of light, you're putting out there, and the universe is, putting its, thing back at you to show you that it can see what you're doing, kind of thing. I don't know. That's how I see it, anyways. It's kind of weird. Blows my mind.
When I was first starting out down a more spiritual path, I did some stuff on my own before reaching out to like the shaman or doing Reiki and stuff like that. And one of the earlier things I did was I did a meditation. I did a meditation with, I think it was amethyst on my third eye. And I had a weird experience. I don't recommend this meditation. I think I've learned my lesson. So during this meditation, I looked over and it was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet off the ground in the doorway to my left. There was this blob of energy, and it was black and it had purple around it, like kind of moving along the edges.
Oh, wow.
And it was there both when my eyes were open and when they were closed. I could still see it. And that after that was when I started seeing more orbs, and I was like, I probably shouldn't have done that meditation with the amethyst.
That's crazy, because when I was first starting out and I didn't have a lot of direction as in regards to my spiritual awakening, I guess. I did that too. I did the meditation with amethyst on my third eye, and I remember seeing it wasn't with my eyes open though. There's a difference. I saw this weird blob-like creature as well, and it scared me so much that I snapped out of it real quick, and I was like, nope.
Interesting. What color
Yeah.
did it look like to you?
Oh, I can't remember. I feel like it was like a fuzzy, like not fuzzy as in like hairy, but like a fuzzy image, sort of black or grayish energy, kind of like morphing and coming toward me.
Interesting. It sounds really similar to what I saw too.
What maybe my amethyst wasn't cleared or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Never know where your crystal's been before you get it.
Yeah, because somebody gave me mine. Actually, they lived in Virginia. The person who gave it
to me.
Sent it to me.
It happened to be your town, actually.
I didn't know.
It was found in a tiny cave with a couple of elves.
That's really interesting.
I feel like more people need to look into these things, all these crazy things around us constantly, and we all get sucked into our normal lives, and we forget all the chaotic beauty and things that we just don't know, all these mysterious things. Like every time I do a new episode for the show, I just realize that we're not, a lot of us share similar experiences, and we've all usually thought that, am I the only one that's going through this? Like, well, actually, no. It's pretty widely spread, but nobody wants to talk about it because people judge them. They think they're crazy and whatnot. So I'm hoping, like with this show, that people can talk about these kind of things, and people who have witnessed things that you have can not feel so crazy, and feel so alone in what they've experienced, because can be pretty isolating when you've had these weird things you go through and you keep them within yourself for so long. And people are like, oh, whatever, man, what drug were you on? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's like, oh, no, man, no, we're not all on drugs all at the same time, but we're all seeing shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's nice to connect. It's just really cool. This whole the podcast has been really eye-opening for me, and when I was able to tell my story, it felt like a weight was lifted, like I needed to. Yeah.
Only a few people around me have heard these stories. It's not something I've opened up and told a lot of people about, because I guess as a kid it was like you just don't really share these things.
Yeah.
As how I felt about it as a kid. And now I don't mind sharing it, but I just want it to be with people that understand it. Not just like my mom's not going to understand it. She's going to freak out about it.
She's going to pat you on the head and, all right, honey.
Yeah.
That's my mom as well. But she might end up listening to this podcast. Who knows? Maybe she'll have...
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. Maybe she'll have a change of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad this can be a platform for people, for people to get it out of their system and not be judged and openly chat with people who've had also similar, but not always similar experiences. And because we're not alone, y'all. We're all in this together, trying to figure things out. And people are way more sensitive than they realize. A lot
Hmm.
of people see things their whole life and don't even understand what they're seeing. They don't even realize, like, you've been getting signs your whole life. People, spirits or orbs or figures, all these different things, and you just kind of brush it off as, oh, whatever. It was because I was tired, or it's because I this and that. It's like, no, there's more to it than that. There's something going on here. People are sensitive and can do things and sense things and hear things that other people can't. But I think that everyone could tap into that if they really wanted to, if they knew
Yeah.
that they could tap into it. But no one's taught that. You're not taught that you can be sensitive to energy and can do all these amazing things and sense all these crazy things when you're growing
Hmm.
up in school, and they don't tell you these things. They try to force other things down your throat, and
Yeah.
I think it needs to be taught. I think there should be classes on it, and it should be a
We
part
need a
of people's
Hogwarts.
life. It should be like Hogwarts, and
Yes.
people should tap into their magic. It's
That
life
would be
isn't just
amazing.
work and sleep and work and sleep and work and sleep. There's way more to it than that. In between all the work and
Oh,
sleep.
yeah. Exactly.
So our new goal then should be, let's make it big with the podcast, and then we'll use that money to build a Hogwarts in America.
Build their own school.
That's a
Build our own
fantastic
school.
goal. Yes.
We have to find an abandoned like Scottish castle or something.
Oh, that'd be
Just take it
cool.
over.
I don't think that's gonna happen, babe.
Come on, I mean, if the podcast kicks off, we could afford a magical
Let's just build.
castle.
We'll build it.
We'll build it. Okay.
And instead of like regular stairs up and down, there's gonna be slides next to the stairs, so
Ooh,
you can slide down. That's my dream.
that sounds great.
We're gonna put it in Marion, Virginia, and the slide's gonna go right into a little cave.
Oh, that sounds great. A little scary at the end, but it'd be fun on the way down.
And as you're riding down, there'll be a strange wolf creature chasing you, 9 feet
No.
tall, and there's weird clown music playing above you. It's good since it's a
Welcome
normal
to
day.
Marion.
That's
Welcome.
yeah. They don't put that on the brochure, do they? Like, welcome. Don't let the elves get you. It's like, okay. Like I want to see the elves. Like I've had some pretty weird sightings where I thought I might have seen an elf kind of creature, or like a elf or a fairy or elemental. They're usually like
Oh,
super small and move very quickly, and they're very mischievous. And whenever you see them, they dart out of your vision real quick, but they kind of like keep the eye on you. Like they maintain like eye contact, which is really creepy. But yeah, as soon as you look
ooh.
at them, they just dip out and they just go away. But
So how
yeah,
tall is the one that you saw?
the one I saw was about like about 3 feet maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah,
I know
it is creepy, super creepy.
some people. I have three people that I knew at the time who have a story similar to that, but what they saw was a little bit shorter and maybe like a foot and a half, 2 feet tall. But it's weird because they each said that it had a pointy hat like a gnome.
Oh wow, that's kind of
And
awesome actually.
yeah, so all this happened not far from my house, also.
Wow.
The two of them, so I heard two stories of people that I knew really well who were driving across this bridge that was so my house is on the top of this big hill, and this is at the bottom of the hill, like entering into the neighborhood. And while they were driving across across to the bridge area, what looked like a gnome ran out in front of their car across the road in front of them. And then I have another friend who lived behind my house about a quarter mile, who at this all happened within a week, who like around this time he also saw how he described like the exact same thing, like it looked like a little gnome running down his yard.
What? There's we got gnomes,
Yeah,
elves,
yeah.
wolf,
I love it
ape
though.
creatures, Mothman, crocodile with 20-foot wings.
Yeah.
I read a story about a girl who got turned into a half cat, half woman who like roams the forest at night trying to kill people.
Oh,
That's pretty
so
cool.
scary. Wow.
Yeah, that's definitely the most cryptids and creatures I've ever seen for like one place. I mean, it's a huge place. Don't get me wrong. It's like goes into Canada, but
Oh, wow.
there's just so much. This is so much out there. It's wild.
Yeah, in these places where not many people live, a lot of weird stuff is able to move in and reside and not get detected.
Because your hometown only had a pretty small like population, right?
Yeah, I think around now it's gotten bigger since then. It was pretty depressed when I lived there, but there's been a nice little revitalization of the area since then. I
Mm.
think when I was young, there were maybe around 5,000, and now there's like maybe 7,500. But I'm
Wow.
not 100% sure about those numbers. I could be off, but there are a lot more. Well, there are some more people there now than when I was growing up. There's a lot more
Wow.
to do there now.
That's
So
crazy.
there was another question from Facebook, and I was just wondering, are there still isolated communities around there that you know of?
There are some that I don't know very well. Um, I would say in the county where I lived, there was a small town called Saltville. That's where all the salt was mined, and they historically had salt mines there. So lots and lots of caves there. Saltville is pretty secluded. It's quite a bit of a drive out of Marion, and it's all like windy mountainous roads.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Sounds like a welcoming area.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I was reading that the mountains actually look pretty smoky at night in a
hmm
lot of areas.
hmm
This adding to the creepy factor of not only are you seeing a winged creature flying towards you, but it's very foggy and smoky looking out when you're
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah.
it.
Does it
As
feel like you're in a scary movie when you're there?
sometimes, yeah. So I went back and visited a couple times with my boyfriend in the past year or so, and each time we've rented a little cabin Airbnb, and each time we've been like, this is really creepy.
Let's go back.
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah,
we'd say, anyways.
yeah. Well, it is really nice. It's each time I've just ended up getting one that was kind of outside of town, like in the country, to where it's truly just like the cabin and land, and that's all you see, and maybe a house in the distance. And each time it's a little bit creepy. Like, did I really grow up here? This is creepy just being here.
So
It's
not a lot of like light pollution then, huh?
No, no, you
Oh.
can, in some areas you can see the stars really, really well. It's a really beautiful area.
Aw. Are you
Yeah.
happy to be out of there, or do you miss it?
So I miss some people from there, and now that I've left and they've got really cool stuff there, I kind of feel like jealous that they weren't doing this when I lived there, but they've got some really cool stuff. Like there's this the Lincoln Theater is there, and it's this old I don't remember when it first opened, but my grandparents were going there when they were kids. That was the thing to do. You go to Marion and you see something at the theater there, and it had shut down for a while, and they've revitalized it. And there's these beautiful paintings inside of it. I can't remember if it's like a Mayan type. I don't know what to call the paintings and the
Ooh.
architecture, like some sort of Renaissance, but some sort of Mayan type of, I don't know, I'm messing
Wow.
it all up, but it's really beautiful what they've done to restore it. And the downtown has a lot of cool little shops and like gift shops, and they have cool little restaurants that were not there when I was little. When I was young, Main Street was fairly dead. There is now a school for the arts that I've met the woman who I think helps run it, and they do art stuff like painting and stuff there, but they also do things like guitar making and different stuff for music and all different types of arts. So I think it's a really cool area, and I do like it, and I miss people I know from the area, and I enjoy visiting, but it's too cold in the winter for me.
Well, the art place sounds cool. That sounds like
Yeah.
something I would want to go to.
Yeah, it's blossomed into a really cool little community. And I think there's actually a couple of ceramic artists that have a studio downtown, and it's thriving. And they've got different local artists work in their gallery, and it's a really cool spot that it wasn't there when I was there, but some people have done a lot of work to the community to revitalize it and have made it pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, our hometown isn't that cool, so at least now when you go back, you can enjoy being there and have fun. We're stuck in this city that doesn't have a lot to do. You can either float down a river that kills people, or you can go see a movie.
We had a little bit of an issue again with my computer shutting down during our story time, which is definitely not creepy or weird at all. Allison was talking about our lovely rivers that kills people. That was where we left off.
I meant that we don't have anything fun to do in our city, and it was really cool that she has a place that grew and it became something way cool for her to go back to. So.
Oh yeah. I was going to ask a question before I got rudely interrupted by my computer. Somebody on Facebook asked if you knew anyone that practiced the folk magic when you were living there, or magic,
So
I guess.
I wouldn't consider it folk magic, but when I was in like 5th grade, I had this group of girlfriends, and they watched The Craft and thought that they should put together a little coven, and they did their thing. I wasn't allowed in it because my friend who put it together, she was the water sign, and I'm a water sign, so she only wanted one water sign in it, so I couldn't join.
What? Rude.
Wow, that's not nice.
So I had friends who did, in quotation marks, magic for a little bit.
Must have been a Gemini that cut you out, huh?
Gemini's not a water sign.
I know, but they're naughty.
Oh,
That.
true. No, what is your sign?
My sign?
Yeah.
I'm a Pisces.
Pisces, nice. All
Nice.
of my best friends are Pisces,
We love
and
the Pisces.
we love the Pisces.
Oh,
And
cool.
I'm a Cancer, so.
Okay.
And I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo Virgo cusp. I'm the last day of Leo.
I'm the last day of Pisces, so my birthday is on the last day of the astrological calendar. It's usually on spring equinox.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Does that mean you're a cusper as well?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah,
Wait, are you a cusp too? Yeah, we're all cusp. That's funny.
We're all cusp because I'm July 21st.
Mine's March 20th.
Wow. And then his is August 22nd. That's pretty cool, you guys.
Yeah.
20, 21, and 22.
A lot of 33s. Got a lot of 20, 21, 22s going on.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. We love to see it.
Yeah.
But that explains to why you are sensitive. Being a Pisces, water signs usually are.
Yeah, I've read that, and I think a lot of my water sign friends are the ones that more often have experienced weird stuff that I've talked about with them about. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten sleep paralysis at all?
I have not. So if I usually when I mention the story about the first time with the apparition, people are like, oh, it's sleep paralysis. But for me, I sat up in bed and I moved my arm around and I turned over and put the covers over my head. So I don't think I've ever had sleep paralysis. It sounds terrifying from what I've heard.
Yeah, it is. It's not nice because you can't move, and it does feel like there's something kind of pushing down on you.
Oh.
You guys are going to hear a dog bark, I think, for a couple seconds here. We got some company in the background, apparently. So if you hear a dog bark, just don't mind it. It's okay. Not there. She sees the spirits, too. It's fine. That's crazy.
It's kind of interesting that that the computer keeps crashing like that, because I don't remember it happening at all during our interview before on the previous episodes. And I remember talking about how on Art Bell's podcast, what was it, Coast to Coast? There were times, especially during that one phone call that we've always listened to, where
the Area 51 caller.
Yeah. Things like that kind of shut down in the middle of intense discussion.
Yeah,
Oh,
his whole
creepy.
radio station, like his whole like thing went down right after a guy who claimed to work at Area 51 called him and was freaking out, trying to warn people about coming disasters and stuff, and the aliens working with the government and all these kind of things. And
Wow.
as he's telling that story, the call goes out. Not just the call, but his like whole like radio station, like they was using whatever to broadcast, like all went down. And then later on, like I don't know if it was like weeks later or when exactly it happened, but allegedly that same guy called back and was trying to say it was all a joke kind of thing. But
Hmm.
no one really believes him. No one really believed that it was actually a joke because yeah, after that happened, there were a bunch of natural disasters and whatnot, and weather phenomenon that happened, and it's a bunch of weather-related and weird disasters that took place after his warning. That it could have been a
Oh,
coincidence, Earth has weather and whatnot, but it
that's
was
so
creepy.
creepy. Yeah.
But yeah, and all the other episodes, my computer never crashed multiple times, so it's kind of weird.
Well, I've got a big storm here on my end that rolled through as we've been talking, and now it's here, and my dog's whimpering about it.
Yeah, I think we might have had that storm a couple like a week ago or
It's
something like
like
that came through.
yesterday. No, it's
Yeah.
like yesterday.
Like yesterday, a week ago, whatever.
Like a week ago, yesterday.
Well, I didn't see any rain here, so apparently it rained. Yeah, we used to get crazy storms over here, but not anymore. Not anymore, damn it.
I've been getting used to. I moved here to Southern Alabama in September, and this has been my first summer here. And there are these crazy storms that just pop up at the end of the afternoon in the summer because it's a subtropical atmosphere, and it's really beautiful. It's so lush and green, and the plants are going crazy that I've planted out in the garden. That they just get watered so well and get so much sun.
And the elves love it.
Yeah.
That's prime elf weather right there.
Yeah.
Do you or have you heard of any creepy stories from the area that you now live in?
So the area that I now live in there are stories of a Bigfoot here, and there's a documentary on Amazon that might even be free. It's I don't know if I'd say not all of it is serious, and I can't tell how much they take it seriously or how much of it is just kind of like marketing. There is a Bigfoot statue here at the Piggly Wiggly.
Oh, it's a good name.
Yeah. So that's the little local grocery store chain. And so there's this Bigfoot statue right off the interstate as you enter into that shopping area. So I hear stories of Bigfoot. I've never experienced anything like that here and don't know how often people do.
Yeah, that's one thing I haven't seen is good old Bigfoot. We don't really go into the forest that much, I guess, over here though.
We do have someone lined up though coming on the show who has had an experience in seeing or finding a big footprint.
Oh, that's creepy.
And well, he's unnamed. He didn't want to be named.
Wait, you got an email?
No, we talked to him in person.
Oh. Gotcha. I was like, what?
Creepy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's areas around here because we live what's our big tree forest called? The
Yosemite?
Yes, Yosemite, and we've got the big redwoods area, and lots of creepy stuff happens up there. And I know somewhere around here, somewhere in California, there've been a lot of Bigfoot sightings, and among a few other things, but Bigfoot's probably the one we hear most about because it's so forested. And yeah, we know somebody who was up there in an area that had just recently been seeing those things, and he saw a footprint on the ground, and nobody believed him. And he didn't have a camera.
Something. Oh man, sorry, go on.
No, that's it. He didn't have a camera, so
worst timing.
Oh no, after seeing something that incredible and then nobody believes you and you can't take a picture, that would be so sad.
And that's how it usually is, isn't it? When we have these crazy experiences, it's like, well, I don't have any proof, but it did happen, and I was awake, and not, doing drugs. I was sober, and, it's kind of like you have to go through all the things to explain why your experience really happened. And that's the part of it that can be kind of isolating.
Mhm.
So hopefully this podcast helps to fight that.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Fight the stigma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great to have a platform for that.
For sure.
Yeah, because I don't know. Did you ever listen to Art Bell at all when you were growing up?
That name sounds familiar to me, but I can't remember anything about it.
He was usually on the AM stations, but he would be usually up at the craziest hours of the night, taking in calls from people who've seen crazy things or went through experiences kind of like this, like aliens and all kinds of weird things. And he would just talk to them and let callers call in, and he just became known as that for a while. That was his thing, and he kind of was like the main guy doing the kind of paranormal podcast for a while. But eventually he started to think people were like following him and stuff like that, and like he knew too much kind of thing, and started to get kind of paranoid and moved to the Philippines. But yeah, we were actually Facebook friends for a little bit, and I designed a little cat background for his website before he passed away. Rest in peace.
That's cool.
It was super weird because I just grew up as a kid listening to all these like wild stories, and never thought I'd actually get to talk to him on Facebook and stuff like that before he passed away. And then I'm trying to carry on the torch a little bit and kind of keep that theme going. And this is someone who's like really into these themes and these stories. And I just love connecting with people too. So it's just kind of a win-win for me to hear people's experiences and share mine, and we just go back and forth. And having Allison on here as a co-host has been really fun too, actually. And have another person to think of questions and brainstorm stuff has been really cool too. So thank you both for coming on, because it's been a lot of fun. It's been a really good episode, I think. I might be biased because I'm on it right now, but I'd say damn good. It's damn good.
Yeah.
A lot of amazing things that you've seen.
I think it's cool that you are giving people a voice in the same way that Art Bell did that too. So it's really neat that you can carry that torch.
Yeah.
I think it's what we all need.
Everybody deserves a voice, and something I've been wanting to do for a long time since I was 16. When I first started getting into this stuff, I'm 16 till 32, and took me this long to actually get a podcast going. But once I start something, I don't do it half-assed. I want to talk to all the people. I want to hear everyone's stories, and I want to give everyone a voice, and want everyone to not feel crazy, because I know how it feels. It's tough.
Yeah, that's awesome to have a platform and to just be able to hear that other people have, experienced the same weird things, and you just don't feel so alone.
Exactly.
I think the more episodes we get, we'll just see that more and more too, and then we'll just realize that we're all weird, actually. We're all weirdos.
Weird is the new cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. It's always been cool though, but people are judgmental. Things they don't understand, and it doesn't fit into their belief system or religious beliefs or this and that, and they just immediately cut it out, or it's all about logic for them, or if I didn't see it, it doesn't exist kind of thing. It's like, well, when millions of people are seeing something, then just because you didn't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. These other millions of people are seeing it. So it's good to hear everyone's input, and I still get kind of weirded out by everyone seeing shadow figures, and why do we all see that?
Yeah, we all see it, and we all feel like we shouldn't talk about it. So it's really interesting to hear how many people actually are seeing them.
Like I'm curious, like how long humanity's been seeing it, and like is it like since the olden days, like people, Egyptian temples, are like doing a ritual, they look over, see a shadow figure, like how long has it been going on? Because for me, it feels like it's an ancient kind of thing, like it's just been kind of like not quite human, but maybe takes that form just so we can kind of understand it more. Maybe I don't know. So many questions.
It was so weird to have the opportunity to turn my head and actually see it, and it was so dark and not shiny at all. Matte, I guess that's the opposite of shiny. It was extremely dark, like extremely black and very matte, and it was the creepiest thing I've ever seen, and it's like I felt it all the way down to my core, like a shiver down my spine.
Did it feel like looking at a void, sort of?
Yeah.
Wow.
like a
Yeah.
void that had no good intentions.
Ugh. Ugh, that gives me the creeps.
Yeah,
Like a
it was
black
really
hole
scary. Yeah.
just
So
sitting there.
my dad still lives in this house, and I haven't seen anything when I go to visit, but I will not stay in that house alone. It creeps me out.
Hmm.
Have
I
you ever
get
used a
that.
Ouija board before?
Unfortunately, in high school, I did get into it a little bit. I no longer have the Ouija board, and I think it's a horrible idea, and I regret ever dabbling into it. But yes, I have a couple of 2 or 3 times that really maybe it was the only times I used it, but that really stick out to me. And they were all in Marion one time. So there's this really old cemetery in Marion that I think has Civil War soldiers in it. Maybe it's older than that. I can't remember for sure. Very
Mhm.
old graves. And I went there with some friends in high school, and we used the Ouija board, and it was responding. But there were so many people, I was like, I don't know if I want to trust it, but it was responding to us. But another time I went with just a couple of people to this other spot that was by the river. Maybe it's a creek, a big creek or a small river. I can't remember. And there, this place, there was like a picnic table by the river, and on the other side of the river are like just cliffs. And then at the top of the cliffs are houses, but there's trees that separate the houses from the edge of the cliff. And so we were asking the Ouija board questions, and we asked, "Who are you?" And it spelled out SATA. And I moved the thing off the board. I didn't want it to finish spelling that out. And I looked up, and there was a shadow that I could see of onto the cliffs from a tree. And it looked like a person was hanging from a rope and swinging
Oh my
in the
Oh
gosh.
my
shadow.
God.
And I was like, nope, nope, we're leaving. We're never doing this again. I'm not coming here again. This is over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a big
that's
nope.
scary. But they like to do that, don't they? They like to say words that trigger us, I think.
Hmm.
Hmm.
We've had that
Yeah.
happen probably too often.
Hmm.
A similar, like it spelled out something creepy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes we try to do Zozo quite a bit too. It's kind of weird, but
Oh,
for me, it
No,
usually
they do.
goes off the board, like towards me.
Yeah, they do different forms of that. It's called I forget what they call it. It's kind of like a rainbow thing where it will go back and forth on the page, or not on the page, on the board. Um,
Hmm.
kind of in a like a rainbow arch shape, and it will go from one letter to another. We've had
Hmm.
that.
huh.
And I can't remember what else. Oh, we mentioned in the last episode, both of us have had things try to quote parts of the Bible that demons said. Um,
Ooh.
Hmm.
yeah, but I've done like so much research since then because my experiences were back when I was right out of high school, and I wasn't really spiritual yet. I didn't know protection and things like that, and I've done a lot of research that has shown me that a lot of these spirits that we connect to will do things like that just to get a rise out of you because they
Hmm.
feed on fear, you know.
Oh, that's so
They like
creepy.
you. Yeah, they like you in that state. So
Hmm. Low
it's
vibration, they
annoying
can
at
feed
this
off of.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like to me now, I look back and I think of them as kind of like naughty little bugs or something like stop doing that. That's not okay.
It's so creepy.
Hmm.
Smack them away.
Yeah.
Mosquito.
Yeah.
Get my crystals.
Yeah.
Get the crystals out, damn it.
Go get the
Crystal Cave.
onyx.
Get the Hauntings, yeah.
Oh yeah. I like that one. I bought a bunch of bracelets that have onyx on it. And ever since I had those and was wearing those, it feels like I'm super protected. I mean, you can really feel only good energy when you're wearing that. So that's pretty cool.
So as you said that, I was looking down at the onyx bracelet that I'm wearing on my wrist.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
Hey, you can't also say coincidence in the same way I said it at the same
I
time.
can't
Come
help that we're the same person.
on. Everyone listening is like, what? Yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens. You get water signs together, you get a fire sign. This is what happens, y'all.
Yep. There's no stopping it.
But we have had some similar experiences, and I think that's really cool that we were all able to talk today and learn that, because it's not often that happens for us.
Yeah, that's true. We meet a lot of people that never feel anything or never see anything at all, and that's just their life. They never experience shit their whole life, and we're always the weird ones at the parties, you know?
Yeah, me too.
We're the ones that are into going to cemeteries and, you know, hanging out there, having a picnic, and everyone else thinks we're crazy. It's like, well, it's peaceful. It's peaceful, damn it. It's quiet.
Nice and quiet, yeah.
Unless you got cows in the distance making horrific demon noises.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
I'm the person at a party where if somebody says they have a hurt, I'll be like, you want Reiki? Do you want me to do some Reiki on you? And nobody knows what that is.
It's the same for me.
What'd you just call me?
I could do Reiki for you. And they're like, is that magic? Like, I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have to explain, no, it's, well, you know, it's, you have to start explaining energy, and then they don't get that. And
and
yeah,
then they
it's
zone
kind of
out,
magical.
and it's
a magical kind of thing.
I don't think that magic is its own separate thing. I honestly think it is just science. It's a science. There's a science to it. It's energy.
Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean it's not there and it's not measurable. We just haven't figured out the way to measure it, to make it, to get the scientific proof yet. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I do think that there are ways to measure certain things that we do know about. And even
like EMF detectors and.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. I was in school learning to do ultrasound sonography, and I learned all about energy and how sound waves travel and things like that. And inside the transducers that we use to scan people, they used crystals, quartz, in the original ones. They used that to amplify.
Cool.
Yeah, so this stuff is not, it's not off the wall
phones,
stuff that we don't know about. Yeah, we've got crystals in a lot of our electronics.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's all stuff that people can learn about if they just be, you know, if they let themselves be open to it.
Exactly.
Just take the time to learn. People don't want to take the time to just research a couple things, you know. Until they experience it, then they're like, okay, now I need to dive deep into it, figure this out now.
And then you just never give up. You just keep reading about it.
It never ends. Once you start on the path of discovery of everything around you and yourself, it just keeps on going endlessly, which is fine. It's fine with me, because
too much to learn.
If we knew it all, it'd be kind of boring, right? So you gotta have something to figure out. Their monkey brains.
And it can be exhausting, like being on that path. Like sometimes I have to take a break because I'm like, I can't handle all of this information in my head right now, and I can't handle researching more. Like I have to take a break and wait till I'm ready to learn more, because holy crap, there's just so much involved with, like, just what we were talking about, energy and how that works. That's already a lot, because then you start applying it to everything else in your life, and you're like, oh my god, that's energy, that's energy, that's energy, and everything's energy. And then you start making connections you never thought you'd make, and it's just it's a rabbit hole is what it is.
Exactly
what it is. Now we're gonna have people are gonna be listening to this, and they're gonna be like looking up, googling the various creatures we've mentioned today. I'll also be googling even more, trying to figure out what the Snallygaster's doing.
I'm gonna be reading about that one.
That's a name you just can never forget, right there.
Yeah, I'll never forget that name now. I hadn't heard of that one to my knowledge, so I'm gonna be doing some research into that one.
And name my firstborn child Snallygaster.
No, we are not.
The kids are gonna love it. Snallygaster, get in the office, damn it.
No, it's gonna be the Yahoo.
Snallygaster Yahoo Fitch. There we go. That's the whole name figured out.
Snallygaster will be a long name to put on a birthday cake.
That's true. Like, is this German? Like, kinda.
It's old German.
Snallygaster,
almost German.
Snallygaster is a German word.
Yeah. They had a word for it that was German.
Yeah, it says they named the creature Schneller Geist, which means quick spirit. And then that evolved into Snallygaster.
All Germans listening, please don't write us hate mail for her not pronouncing that correctly.
I used to speak German. I should know how to pronounce that, but I don't anymore.
It's been a while.
It sounded really creepy the way that the German pronunciation sounded, even creepier than Snallygaster. Sounds like something you'd find at the fair.
Like some at Chuck E. Cheese or some shit. Some kind of bucktooth
Okay,
Muppet.
I must be weird because to me, Snallygaster, it sounded like something you'd pull out of your nose.
Oh no, I could see that.
Like, I need to go to the ER, man. I got one of them Snallygasters up there, man. Can't get him out. He's got stage 4 Snallygaster, bro. Gotta get the ambulance.
Sounds painful.
Sounds painful. Oh man, Allison, did you have any more questions for our lovely guest here?
I think we asked all the questions.
We had a whole list of things today.
We went beyond all of that list, so we did pretty well.
This is the most research we've done for a guest before they came on the show. So we tried to semi know what we're talking, like what we're learning about here, and not just like completely blind going into it.
Well, you did good. Yeah, you taught me stuff. I hadn't heard of some of those creatures before, so I've got to go do some more research about this area. I've got one more creepy thing from my house, and then I've got some creepy thing from a friend's house.
Perfect.
Okay, so the last thing at my house that I grew up in, I was in maybe my freshman year of high school, and on 2 separate occasions. So one time it was a good friend came to my house, and another time it was my boyfriend at the time was at my house. And each of them separately, I didn't tell them either about anything going on at the house, but there were these French doors that go from the living room into the dining room, and it's the type of door that you just push closed and you just pull it open. There's no like mechanism in the handle for it to turn at all. It's just like you hold it and it stays straight. Well, they each saw it turn on its own one day.
Ooh.
And each time I was like, no, this doesn't turn. There's no mechanism in this to turn. There's no gears. It's just the straight handle, see, and show them. And it's never done that any other time.
Something's just turning it by itself, just hanging out.
Yeah, something.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
Almost sounds like a residual energy or something. Still trying to do a task or something.
Maybe so. So I think that was all at my house. So I had this friend. Probably around age 11 or 12, I'd go see her. So she lived kind of out in the boonies outside, just a little bit outside of Marion. Like there was she had horses, so behind her was just like a pasture for her horses and a barn and just woods. In front of her house was a cow pasture and woods. To the right was thick forest, and to the left there was pasture, and like down the road a little ways, like kind of far down, there was a house. So it was very secluded. Her parents, they worked for the newspaper, so they were gone at night because they were delivering the newspaper. So we would be by ourselves in this creepy place out in the middle of nowhere to set the story up. That's the atmosphere. So the first thing I remember happening is I went to visit her, and she had just gotten some new fish, and she was excited to show me. And before I pulled up, she was in her room feeding her fish, and my parents dropped me off, and she came to the other end of the house to let me in, and we walked back to her bedroom because she was going to show me the fish. And when we looked in the tank, they had all exploded.
What?
And like I used to, later on I worked in pet care. I worked at a pet store, and so I know how to take care of fish. And had she overfed them, that leads to like mold growth or fin rot or algae or ammonia in the water. It doesn't make your fish explode. And she'd had fish before, so she knew not to overfeed them. So we could never figure out what happened to her fish in that like 2-minute span that she went to let me in her house.
Oh my God, I've never seen. I've owned a lot of fish in my life. I've never seen an exploded fish before.
Yeah, same here. When I worked at that pet store, I took care of fish and would like get them for the customers and stuff. And I never once heard anyone say their fish exploded or saw any of the hundreds of fish in the store explode. That's just not something I've ever heard about. So it was weird.
And all of them too. There wasn't a single
Yeah.
survivor.
No, I think she had 3 or 4, and they all had just,
Wow.
they were just like these little chunks of fish in the tank, and it
My
was
God.
really creepy.
Oh my God.
But there's some really weird stuff that happened at this house. So we had another friend over. It was the 3 of us. A couple of nights that weird stuff happened. So one of them, we played this game that she called Snake in the Grass, but it was kind of like hide and go seek, except it was in the dark and you only had like a short amount of time to find people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were playing this game, and she had shut the door, and I think I was hiding on the bed, and our friend was on the other end of the bed, and then she found us. So she sat down on the bed, and then we all at the same time saw under the light, under the crack of her door from the hallway, it looked like something was walking towards us, kind of like this weird little like hoppy type of move. I don't know how to describe it. Something coming towards us. And then it got on the bed. And then we could feel it touching our skin, and it was hairy, and it was lightweight, and it was maybe 1.5 feet or 2 feet tall, and we got creeped out. So we turned the light on, and we're like, oh, the dogs must have gotten in here. She had 2 shelties, but her dogs weren't in the room. The door was shut. There was no animal in the room with us. And when the light came on, there was nothing in there, but all 3 of us saw this thing walking towards us under, the silhouette from the doorway, and then felt something lightweight and hairy touch us.
What?
Whoa. That's nuts. I don't even know what to do with that one.
Scary.
What did you guys do?
I think we kept every light on in the house the whole night, and maybe we didn't sleep that night.
Yeah, I'll bet. Wow.
I would have been sleeping in the couch for a while after that.
Yeah, it was. We didn't know how to explain it or what to think of it, or it was really weird. And another time, the same friend was over at her house, like the same group of us, and we were on AIM, and we were talking to her boyfriend that at the time that she was dating, and I can't remember, we were like all 3 like taking turns talking to him or something stupid like middle school girls do. And we went into the kitchen to get some snacks, and we came back in after a few minutes, and someone from our side had been typing all this stuff to her boyfriend, and it was all really creepy stuff, and it was talking, I can't remember if it was talking about Satan or if it was like typing 666 over and over again, but everything that had been said was super creepy. And I think we like unplugged the computer from the wall and like didn't get on the computer anymore, because her parents weren't there. It was just us in the house, and we were all together in the kitchen.
So it was typing
happened
by itself, like in front of you, like no one there could see it?
No, but when we got back in, we had seen conversation between our side and her boyfriend. He's like, what the hell is happening? This is creepy.
He's like, you guys are fucking weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've had my phone do quite a weird things before, like turn on the strobe light by itself and open up tabs and shit kind of by itself and do weird things, but never quite. I never had it type. It was on AIM, right?
On Skinwalker Ranch, they had their electronics do weird stuff too.
I remember that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's yeah, it was a really good show. But I would like to learn more about the connection between spirit activity and electronics, because I've heard a lot of things about technology being affected in certain areas. I wonder if that's what was happening. Either that or you guys were hacked.
Yeah, it could. Yeah,
it was.
Could have been
it could have been. It was really unsettling, and I think this happened around the time that weird creature thing was there, like maybe within the same month or so. So we were super creeped out.
Oh my gosh.
Understandably so. Yeah, I haven't quite had that. That's a new one.
Yeah,
you have a lot of new ones I haven't heard before.
Oh yeah, I was really glad I didn't live there. I felt bad for her for living there.
Ugh. Heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
Man, it's got me thinking now. Thinking about the madness of it all.
Yeah, it was creepy. So those are the only things that I remember from her house. Super creepy. I had another friend who, at her house, I saw a full body apparition of a girl. I was sitting at her dining room table and I looked up and there was a girl walking through the dining room and she had what looked like a white gown on, maybe like all the way to the floor. And she didn't pay any attention to me. It felt like I just saw like a little blip of the past, like just repeating. It didn't seem like it was an intelligent thing that was trying to communicate with me. But the thing about it is that her dad told me once I said something about it that he had seen someone that looked exactly the same on the stairs, coming down the stairs beside that area,
Oh,
since they
wow.
had lived there too. Yeah.
So like
Ew.
residual energy type of thing.
Yeah.
hmm
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you're going to have some weird things happen after the show ends, because a lot of people that come on the show after they talk about what they go through, they happen to have some weird things happen shortly after. So if you have
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
happen, I want to hear about it.
Yeah,
I want to
I
know.
I thought about that ahead of time, and originally I was out on my porch talking because I was like, I don't want to make it creepy in the house. But then it started storming, so I'm inside making it creepy in the house.
Well, sorry to bring the creepiness into your home.
That's okay. That's okay.
The locust did add an interesting atmosphere at one point.
Yeah.
I actually
They were
liked
getting.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't get those around here. So
Oh,
No.
cool. There's a lot of birds and loud bugs here, so probably a little chatter in the background from those at the beginning, and then some thunder in the middle. But it looks
they're all
like the
trying to warn
storm's
us,
passed.
trying to
Yeah,
warn you guys, like, get the fuck out of here.
get out of here.
The
Trying to
gnomes are
tell me there's a
coming.
Bigfoot. Yeah.
The long list of creatures it could be that I now know of, and hopefully do not see tonight when I go to bed,
Yeah.
or I'm driving, or when I go into a small cave, or
Yeah.
do anything.
You never know. You never know when they'll be there.
Oh man,
So
damn, we did good, guys. We did good.
yeah, I think
I think
that's
so.
the majority of my weird stuff. Oh, I should say that my so my dad's side of the family, I've heard stories of people just like knowing weird stuff, and my grandma would talk about seeing ghosts. She had seen them from the time that she was young, when she grew up in the mountains and even further out from Marion. And then my dad has a cousin, his first cousin on my grandma's side, so her niece. She is, I guess she's a psychic medium, and she does energy work and Chinese medicine for her career. She's made a career out of it. She lived in San Diego for a long time and used to help, and I guess still does help with missing persons case. She would sometimes help the police as a medium on the cases to help find
Ooh,
missing people.
Wow.
we love that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
I think the people never talk about mediums being used for that kind of stuff, but it's a real thing.
hmm
People want to disprove them all the time, but they constantly are helping law enforcement and other people trying to find bodies and find murderers. It's
hmm
pretty
Hmm.
crazy stuff.
Yeah, and I know she worked with them on multiple cases, so it's just interesting. I haven't heard about anyone else in my family with it, but if my grandma and my dad's first cousin, I do know that they've had, well, she's had tons of experiences, and I guess my grandma did too. So,
Runs
Wow.
in the family.
hmm
That's crazy. Yeah, because either I usually hear like everyone in the family goes through something, or like one person does. It's never like
hmm
in between.
yeah, and my grandma didn't really talk about it. I think she talked to some to me about it. I think maybe we just had an understanding that we knew what was going on, but she didn't like bring it up much around a lot of the family often or anything like that.
Hmm.
I feel like 3 out of my 4 guests have dabbled in the mediumship powers.
Oh,
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was accidental at first though.
Yeah.
What
Because
happened?
I tapped in while I was practicing Reiki after I got my what is it, master in quantum Reiki, and
Oh, cool.
I was just practicing on friends for free, and I was letting them know, hey, this is like practice. So no guarantees, and I accidentally tapped in to this chick's grandma. Well, I don't want to say tapped in. I want to say the grandma was like, she forcefully came in and wanted to say some stuff, wanted me to tell her granddaughter some stuff, but I wasn't sure who that lady actually was at first, and I was supposed to be doing Reiki, so I didn't know if I should even tell my client for confirmation. But I took a leap of faith, and I told her what this old lady was saying to me, and what how she looked and things like that. And she's like, yeah, that's my grandma. And I was like, well, she says that she's a namesake. Are your kids named after her or anything? She goes, no, I'm named after her.
Wow.
And, yeah. So that was pretty cool confirmation for me, but I also had to learn like how to ground myself and put up my protections before I go in and do Reiki on somebody, because I'm not signing up for mediumship when I do that. I want to heal and get out,
Exactly. That's really interesting. I'm a Reiki level 2. I haven't done the master certification yet, but I've had some really interesting things pop up during sessions that I wasn't anticipating being able to tap into. I didn't know that would, bleed through into Reiki. I haven't had anything like that though, have like a person talking to me. I am more able to, so I have a friend who has a pretty serious chronic illness, and I do distance Reiki for him, and I'm not at the point, I'm still not charging. I do it all for free. I want more practice before I start like charging for it. So I was doing Reiki for him, and I had just tuned into his knees. At first I do the chakras, and then I just like intuitively am guided where else in the body needs it. So I went to his knees, and I suddenly felt all this pain in my knees, and then I went up to the hips, and I felt ice cold, like stabbing ice. And once it finished, I had written down everything and told him about it. And he was like, I'm having a really hard time with my knees. They've been really painful lately. And it's really weird that you say that about my hips, because my hips have been totally fine till this past week. I've had like a lot of nerve pain, like randomly concentrated in my hips. So I do sometimes just like pick up maybe what they're feeling during Reiki, but that's never what I'm intentionally trying to do. Sometimes I just get little messages to pass along. I did Reiki for a friend one time. She was pregnant. She was pretty far along, and when I got to her belly, I could see the spirit of her child. I don't know how to describe it. It's like I saw this little blue light, and I could feel the energy from it, and it was the most beautiful feeling I'd ever felt before. And I started crying because it was just such a beautiful presence. And that was pretty incredible.
Wow, what an amazing experience.
Yeah, I was not anticipating that at all. Just like started crying during her session, because there's just like, I've never felt anything so beautiful and pure before.
Everything that you spoke about in doing your Reiki, the way that you have that intuitive connection, that's exactly how it does go. And it's funny because at the beginning, when you're first learning Reiki, I don't know about you, but my practitioners always said, or my teachers, they always said, you're gonna open up psychic senses when you do this. And I kind of took that with a grain of salt, for no reason. I was just being a brat. But like, it was like, for me, it was like, yeah, right, we'll see. I just want to heal. And yeah, no, then when you actually start to practice, it's true. There's different ways that it can come in for you. Some people see things in their minds, and some people feel the feelings of what their client is feeling. And it's truly an amazing thing, especially when you can confirm afterward that your feelings were spot on. And that's why I think that Reiki should be a bigger thing. I think everyone should practice it, even just a little bit, because it does amazing things for your mind and for your connection with others. I love it, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. I came to Reiki. I think maybe the first person who told me about it or did it for me was my dad's cousin, but I didn't think about anything about doing it for myself until later on, because I still have a chronic illness, but when I was in my mid 20s, around 24, I got very, very sick and I had a hard time finding any sort of diagnosis, and I was in a lot of pain all the time. So eventually I turned to Reiki because I was like, well, maybe this is something I can do for myself. And turning to Reiki and opening up those intuitive centers and the spiritual part all happened because of the chronic illness, that I might not have turned to any of this beforehand. So it's been a really interesting way to heal and to also add spirituality into my life and give it a lot more meaning than it had before. So it's been a really strange trip.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed a lot with people who are super spiritual in these kind of ways is that a lot of them have had health problems or like major surgeries, stuff like that. That seems to be a common thing I've noticed with a lot of us spiritual folk, which is apparently like how a lot of shamans even become a shaman, is because they usually have a kind of health problem themselves, and then they access the other dimensions and then come back and they help themselves, and then they start to help the whole community as well by accessing these different worlds. So I think it's very interesting about how a lot of people that I've known who've been through like a lot of harsh health problems have found some kind of way out in a way, or way to boost themselves up and kind of get beyond their problems and whatever you want to call them.
And it adds
It's
a really
interesting.
beautiful dimension to your life that for me, it was missing beforehand, that any element of spirituality, and it gives your life so much more meaning and purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree. Yeah.
Which is also important for healing. So it's just another aspect of healing you're allowing yourself to open up to.
Yeah.
I just love learning about everything, myself, the universe, the mind. It's just I'm just in love with learning as much as I can. So it's so cool to hear everyone else's experiences and how they match up with everyone else, and it's just so cool to me. I love it. Love it.
Absolutely.
This might be the longest episode we've done. I think it is.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
He had a lot of material. He had a lot of stories, which I love. When I ask people to come on here, I never know how many stories they have, or how much things we can have to talk about, but you had plenty of things to keep us busy today.
When I was like, I'm just gonna take a few notes so I can remember things, and I like had it organized chronologically, and I was like, oh my God, I've had a lot of weird stuff.
That's so funny. I did the same thing for my episode. I wrote an entire outline chronologically, and it ended up being kind of like a life story. I didn't mean for it to be, but I had pages of it, and Alex was like, this is a lot.
That's
well,
cool.
it's easier to keep track of it. Yeah, and it's easier to keep track of it that way, and
kind of makes it feel more real too when you write it down and actually look at your life. Like, damn, I went through all this. This is me.
Yeah.
This is what I saw and heard and see.
Would be
and the craziest.
Outline. Oh, go on.
Yeah, when I was writing it, I remember I kept remembering things that I forgot. And I had to go back, and I was like, oh my God, wait, there was another thing that I experienced I totally forgot about all this time, and I had to go put it back in. And so that's always nice, unlocking memories.
Oh yeah, and it's a great way to organize yourself for writing a book in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you going to write a book in the future?
I hadn't thought about it, but I think it'd be really cool to read your book. If you wrote a book from all your experiences, I was imagining you had like 8 pages. That could be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought about it too, but it's a daunting task trying to write about my own life. Usually it's like, oh God, it's a lot to unpack here. And then like when you go through your whole life, you kind of start to, when you put it on paper and put in front of you, you can see all the different like connections that you never like realized before. Like, wait a second, I went through this and then this happened and led to this, and oh my God, all this is a result of this one thing that happened like 20 years ago, because like, you never know when that thing happens. It's going to change your whole life, forever. And it's kind of just like send you spiraling down the rabbit hole. But Here we are.
And everything's connected. You find that everything is connected.
Absolutely.
Do you all ever find weird signs, or do you have like a specific thing that you find that you feel like is your message from the universe?
Like whenever I see like butterflies or like hummingbirds, it usually reminds me of like my past relatives who passed away.
That's cool.
Or certain like animals kind of have always really spoken
Owls.
to me, like owls, especially the barn
Owls.
owl. I've always been really
that's
connected
cool.
to.
Actually, there's a story behind that because I was always super into owls. And then when Alex and I first started dating, he had also been into owls, and we kind of figured that out. And it was just, I know it doesn't sound like it, but it was a really crazy connection that we had. And I even painted him a picture of two owls snuggling.
Oh, that's cool.
It looks really cool.
So I think I had seen in a meditation when I was first doing my meditations, I was trying to like reach out to, I think it was like animal spirit guides or something. And whatever it was, a spirit guide or animal spirit guide, it presented itself as an owl. And then when Alex and I got together, I think, Alex, you said that something of yours also presented as an owl or was associated with owls. And I thought that was
so cool.
really interesting. Yeah. So
I
the
always see an
universe
owl
does
like, over
do.
my backyard constantly.
Yeah. Oh, I
Every time
saw
I see
one
it, I'm
the
like,
other
yes.
night. Yeah. Owls are just so cool. I mean, like
They're
everything that they
cool.
stand for is super neat.
It feels like they bless you with their presence when they fly over you, like a majestic cryptid or some kind of creature that goes beyond understanding. Even though I understand it, I know it's an owl, but when it flies over me, I'm like, oh, I'm in awe. I'm in awe every time I see it.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. I just am.
We've
Awesome.
We've got a big live oak tree at the edge of the property here, and there's two owls that roost there, and I think right now we think they have babies. But last week, one of them during the middle of the day flew down into the yard, I guess to get a mouse or something, but we'd never seen it before like that well. We'd seen it fly in and out once or twice, but we got a good look at it, and it felt so magical, like it was there just for us at the right time. It was so pretty.
You're so quiet too
love
when they
that.
fly.
Yeah, I don't
Unless they're screeching.
Yeah, unless they're screech owls, yeah.
But I actually read that that's kind of one of the superstitions I had read about when I was reading about when I was actually doing research for this podcast. One of the superstitions was like, if an owl flies over you and it screeches, it's bad luck.
Oh.
I wouldn't believe it, but like that's just because I love owls, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, so
I refuse
majestic.
to believe it.
Yeah.
Well,
but I
that's
thought
good
that
to
was
know.
pretty cool.
I'll
Yeah.
keep that in mind. I'll try to stay away from the nest if they're screeching.
Yeah, I don't even know why they
Yeah.
screech, because usually they try to be as quiet as possible, but it kind of ruins the sneaky approach when you're screaming in the air. But you're like, come on, and they're dead. Yeah, I love owls. They're awesome.
My message that I find that I feel like is my connection with the universe or whatever is I find a lot of feathers.
Ooh, yeah, feathers are awesome to find. Those always give me my feels. I'm like, oh, I found a feather. Yeah.
I love finding a feather. At the last place I lived before moving here, there was this, I don't know if it was a falcon or a hawk, but for a little while it was always like around the house squawking about something. And one day I was eating lunch and it landed in front of the living room where I could see right in front of the big windows and just sat there. I was like, wow, this has to be a message or something. This is super weird that it just landed right here in the middle of the day like this. And I went outside afterward and found it had left two feathers, and I was like, yep.
Oh,
There it
that
is.
is so cool.
Yeah,
You collect
it's
them?
really cool. I do. Yes, I've got a lot of feathers that I've collected.
That's awesome. One day you can make an entire bird.
Yeah.
Or art with them. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got one of them is a pretty big feather that the hawk or falcon or whatever left, and then a small one, and then I've got some from blue jays and seagulls whenever I go to the beach. Nowadays I find feathers. I never found feathers like this as a kid or before, the past few years. It's weird because now I find feathers all the time, and I used to just never see them. So now I collect them like a little kid would.
When you see them, there's like your intuition like tell you like, hey, this is a sign kind of thing, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, and sometimes the way I find it is I will like go out on a walk or a hike, and I'll be like, I want to find a feather today, and then I end up finding a feather.
Aww.
we tried doing that too. Like today, we're gonna find this. We're gonna find this number. We're gonna find this word. We're gonna find this weird word that we just thought up, and we're gonna find it somewhere. We're gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it
Yeah.
works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
It worked
it's
for me
cool.
when I went out looking for 4-leaf clovers because we don't have a lot of 4-leaf clovers here. And me and my kids would go out, and sometimes I would look on my own, but the only times I've found 4-leaf clovers, I found 2, not at the same time, 2 separate times, but it was when I was with my youngest son, who I call him my little leprechaun because he's kind of like a Sour Patch Kid. He's sweet,
Aw.
but he's also like kind of really extra silly, like in a very leprechaun kind of way. But
Oh,
also he's super lucky. Like the dude finds money and attracts money in the weirdest way. He can collect money, and he's only 9 now, but
wow.
his hair is like tinged red. And so when I took him out, the only times I found those 4-leaf clovers was when it was just me and him, and I was like, dude, it's your leprechaun powers. You're lucky.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I really think that it would be interesting to look into that about him, because we did recently find out that we have a lot of Irish in
Oh,
our ancestry. So I'm wondering,
that's cool.
is there some sort of energy within this dude that he really is like, he's got that Irish, I don't know,
The look
leprechaun.
of the Irish.
Yeah, I think
That's
he does.
cool.
But is he from Virginia?
Nope.
Okay. Just making sure.
He's safe
Making
then.
Never know. Be around the corner. Never know.
Could be under the bridge in
Sleep with
Virginia.
my lights on tonight. I'm telling you what.
I have thought a million times about moving to Virginia. I don't know why it sticks out in my mind. I think I just think about like how pretty fall is there.
Oh,
But
it's so beautiful.
yeah, I've always
But
wanted to
it's
go.
so
I've never
cold.
been. See, I like the cold. We live in a place that's like it's hot. It's like Satan's butthole
Yeah,
here.
it's been
Like
105 for like weeks.
it's
Oh, wow.
terrible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah.
I love that area of Virginia, but I hate the cold, and winter is so cold there, and it's so high elevation that you feel it down to your bones and you can't stop shaking from the cold. So I like to go visit. I don't absolutely enjoy visiting in the winter, like for Christmas, but
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure if we went in the winter time, we'd probably regret it because we're not used to it.
We're not used to real cold. We're used to
No.
kind of cold.
We daydream about it, but
Yeah, it snowed here
it's
like
about
twice in our lifetime.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember when I was 6, I think we had a blizzard come through and it snowed 3 feet and school was closed for a month.
Oh my God.
wow.
Yeah, I remember digging tunnels out in the snow that my cat was going through all the tunnels with me.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I don't know. Whenever
We
I think of
didn't know how
tunnels now,
to.
I don't know.
I know we should have dug tunnels. We didn't know how to handle snow. I remember one snow day when I was in elementary school, and we were all excited like to have the day off because this was like a once in a lifetime thing, literally. And I remember learning about snow and how miserable you can be in it if you're not covered up all the
Oh,
way. And we have this memory that we laugh about it now, but my mom also didn't know how to handle snow, and so she sent us all out to play in it. And my brother was too cold, and my mom said, well, let's put you in a hot bath. And she didn't think about how fast the temperature change was, so she put him in and he was fine, but he started screaming because the temperature change was too much for him. And I guess my mom felt really, really bad, but it's something we look back
oh,
at and We smile now because we're like, well, we learned our lesson about the snow. You don't go in the snow and then immediately jump into a hot bath because it
I
hurts.
hadn't thought about that. Oh no.
Like, you might die. Have fun.
Oh no.
He was fine. No, it was just a little shock. His little fingertips and toesies hurt, but
Aw.
yeah. And then we
She's
learned
encrypted
that
now.
you could build a snowman and put M&Ms in the eyes, and the snow would soak up the color of the M&Ms, and that looked pretty cool.
That's cool. I never tried that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's a little tip for all you listeners out there. Try it at home.
If you never experienced snow, take some M&Ms. That's what we did.
I missed out. Whenever I find myself in a snowy area again, gotta find some M&Ms.
You haven't lived yet.
I haven't lived yet.
Well, guys, what do you think? Do you think we should wrap it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think those are probably most of my creepy stories, or at least my supernatural stories. Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely
And
have to have you on for a round two, because I'm sure you'll have more by the time after this little chat.
I'd love
Yeah.
to. I've got some interesting stories from the spiritual side of things, past life regressions, stuff like that. I'd love to come back and talk about sometime.
Yeah, we want to do. I want to do like video chats for all the people that I have on for the second time, so we can have our faces on there, maybe for those who want to, and for those who don't, that's fine too. But I've always liked seeing people, when they're chatting on podcasts, and makes it feel more real, and
yeah,
something to, a reason to come back, basically.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Well, with that said, we can wrap it up. I want to thank you, Christie, for coming on and sharing your amazing stories. That's probably been my favorite episode so far. Sorry, Allison.
Wow. No, just kidding.
Just because I just didn't know about like any of this stuff. So it's been really eye-opening to learn about it and research it. It's been fun for me and Allison to research together and share notes. And she came up with a bunch of notes and questions and stuff to ask. And we had Facebook people asking questions. And it's been overall really, really fun experience to get it going and learn new things today with you all. Allison, I'm probably going to have you on here more often as a co-host because it's really fun. And I figured out how to do it now. So we can do it now. We figured it out. It's been a learning experience, starting a podcast and figuring out all the little technical things that can happen and all that fun stuff. But I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely want to have you back on.
Awesome.
So,
thank you so much for having me. It was great meeting you both and talking to you both. And I had a lot of fun.
Yes, I had fun too. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
thank
guys. We will see you next time on the next episode. This has been the Fitch Files. You can find the Fitch Files at Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. Submit your stories to thefitchfilesofficial@gmail.com.